Yes, what's on your mind? I thought I said I don't want to talk about it anymore. Not particularly. I guess it wouldn't hurt exactly either, though I don't know why you're so interested. When I think of all the men who betrayed us, the one that stands out above all of them is the one that I respected the most, Saul. With good reason. Admiral Saul Kareth is the commander of the entire Sith fleet. He's half the reason Malak has done so well in the war. Saul was my commanding officer back when the Mandalorian Wars first began. He taught me everything about being a soldier, and I looked up to him. Saul approached me before he left. He talked to me about how the Republic was on the losing side and about how I should start thinking of my survival. I know now that he was trying to recruit me into the Sith, but I couldn't have conceived of it back then. I argued with him and he got angry and he left. I never saw him again. Saul was my mentor. He led us to so many victories against the Mandalorians. I mean, even when things looked to be at their worst, I couldn't conceive of it. He couldn't be serious. I was wrong, of course. He not only left us for the Sith, he gave them the codes to bypass our scanners. I remember waking up as the first of the Sith bombers snuck past our defenses and began destroying half of our docked ships. I knew right away what had happened. I mean, I could have stopped him. I could have stopped it all. I blame Saul, not myself. I was stupid and I ignored the danger. He nearly destroyed us all. No, I fought Saul for years now, and if I ever catch up to him, he will regret what he's done.
Lord Malak, the Star Forge is operating at 200% capacity, far beyond our expectations.
I am more interested in the young Jedi Bastila and her battle meditation. Have you learned how she escaped the destruction of Taris?
She was aided by Karth Onasi, a decorated war hero of the Republic and a legendary soldier. During the Mandalore Wars, he was honored many times for his bravery.
You know this man?
Yes, Lord Malak. He served under me when I still followed the Republic. You could say I was his mentor.
Interesting. How did you acquire this information, Admiral?
An eyewitness, Lord Malak. Calo Nord, a bounty hunter, was there when Bastila and Karth escaped the planet. Apparently they left him for dead.
A Jedi and a war hero. It's a wonder you survived the encounter.
I am hard to kill, Lord Malak.
Calo has agreed to help us capture the young Bastila for a very hefty fee, of course. But I assure you he is well worth the price. His reputation as a bounty hunter is well earned.
Her companions are nothing to me, Calo. But I desire the young Jedi taken alive, if at all possible.
Lord Malak, forgive me, there is something else. May we have a private audience away from the ears of the common soldiers?
I trust you are not wasting my time, Admiral Kareth.
I promise you will be very interested in what Calo has to tell you about Bastila's other companions, Lord Malak.
Yeah, what do you want? I was one of the best youth warriors in the Clan Ordo in my time. No one before me had mastered the power of our basilisk war droids as quickly as I had. Except Mandalore himself, of course. In those days, we were sweeping across the Outer Rim, destroying all who fought us. Young Mandalores would prove themselves in real combat with unknown opponents above 1,000 worlds. Each brought back stories of his achievements. I remember it well, orbiting high above a placid world, its defenses just stirring. As was tradition, I would go ahead of the first wave to find enemies in the thickest fighting. I remember sitting there in my armor, linked directly with the basilisk thrumming beneath me, my heart racing with fear of the coming battle. The doors opened in front of me, and the air was sucked out of the drop bay, scattering crystals of frozen vapor across my path. I can't describe what it feels like to look directly down at a world, falling continuously as you circle it, with barely 15 centimeters of armor plate protecting you. When the magnetic locks disengaged on my droid, I plunged out of the drop bay towards the battle that waited below. The exhilaration, the euphoria I felt as I streaked into the atmosphere, dodging self-guided projectiles and beam weapons, was unmatched. An 80-kilometer plunge through the atmosphere, dodging and weaving, the outside of my armor glowing like the sun with the heat of re-entry. And with barely 30 meters to spare, I twisted and skimmed the surface, firing at the giant beam generators that were in my path. The explosion from that sent shock waves that leveled the entire complex around it. It was the moment of my life. I'll never forget those times. But things are different now. We can't go on fighting the way we did. There are too few of us left now, but I really don't want to talk about this anymore. I trust I've satisfied your curiosity for now.
I feel I must apologize for the way I acted towards you before, in the Grove. It was wrong of me. I am sorry for attacking you. I am sorry for thinking you would only try to kill me. I hope that by helping you in your task, I may redeem myself in your eyes, and in my own. Thank you. It is most reassuring to know that you can forgive me, even though I tried to take your life. I can only hope that, in our time journeying together, I will succeed. How I came to be a Jedi? Well, it goes back a number of years. Back on my homeworld, we did not see Jedi very often, especially where I lived. It was not the homeworld of the KOTOR that I lived on. My parents had long fled from that place, and perhaps that is a story for another time. Rather, it was a human hive world that I was raised on, the hind end of space, a pit of a world, to be sure, where Jedi rarely tread, but we had heard of them. Well, everyone had, so that is not to be unexpected. Champions of truth, defenders of justice, heroes of the Republic. It was very easy for a child to be enthralled by their image, their mystique. Maybe I was one of those children. Yes, I did. When I saw a Jedi for the first time, they lived up to everything my imagination had created them to be. I was awed, and maybe a little enamored. They were quite striking, especially the tales of their leader. From that moment on, I knew that I would have to try to become a Jedi, to lift myself out of the rut I had been living in for years, and to make a real difference, as the Jedi were. The foolish delusions of a child. But this child made it happen. As soon as I was able, I left my world and went in search of them. I found them and was accepted. I had been living my dream on Tatooine for several years before you came, although perhaps I was not entirely ready for it, or not completely suited to the task. Otherwise, I would not have fallen. But thanks to you, I have been redeemed. Perhaps I may yet live to see that dream of mine come true. I am wary of the Mandalorian. I do not trust him. I have never trusted Mandalorians. They drove my parents from KOTOR, aided the Sith, and attacked the Republic. Their warped notions of honor may provoke them to do even more heinous acts. I do not know why you tolerate his presence on your ship. In truth, he has had some merit so far, but I am not certain it is worth the risk you take. His kind may prove to be a danger to the galaxy again, but this man himself has proven acceptable so far. Merely keep your distance from him and watch him so that he does not betray us. Spoken to him? No, I could not. Mandalorians are vicious of temper and easily provoked. I would not want to tempt his wrath. I am not a coward. I fear no one and nothing, but you have not had to flee the destruction of your homeworld either. Human, the Mandalorians came and overran my world. They slaughtered my race. I cannot forget what they have done, or forgive. You are right, of course. You always seem to know what you speak of. This simmering anger and hatred for the Mandalores seems to have found a place in my heart, though. Sometimes I worry. But still, it eats away at me. I worry that I may yet again fall and endanger everything I hold dear, if that time does come. And if I do threaten our task, it is only right that you should strike me down. If I fall and endanger you and the galaxy, you must do what is right. If my death will defeat Malak, then that is what must be done. But we are becoming too morbid, too soon. We should not talk like this now. There is much yet we can do, but we shall talk later, I am sure.
Yeah, what do you want? You want another war story, huh? You want to hear about some other world getting wasted, eh? I knew you were the type. Your stagnant republic has never seen some of the strange creatures and races we fought on the Outer Rim in those years. And you never will now. If a world isn't strong enough to defend itself, it's basically forfeit. But this story is about something a little different. We were going through the asteroid fields of the Crispin system at the very edge of the galaxy, playing with the pirates and smugglers we found there. The main belt in the Crispin system consists of mainly small rocks covered in frozen methane gas shells, and the pirates were using them for cover. Ha! I remember using a thermal generator to cause the outer layer of one of the asteroids to vaporize in a picosecond. It blew out and shredded the 3 smugglers using it for cover. But that was a mistake. The asteroid I had targeted was smaller than most, maybe a dozen meters on the side. On the outside, it looked the same as any other, just a ball covered in frozen gas. But something must have been inside it, something inactive in the cold. The heat of my blast might have triggered something or woken something up. After I'd hit it, spots of light and heat appeared all over the thin shell, still covering it, evaporating the gases. What lay underneath looked like some sort of rocky growth. A deformed rock, pitted by scores of micrometeorite scars. I think something even older might have been inside that. Maybe, but maybe not. It started rotating faster and faster as we watched it. After a second, it started spraying fire, thermal projectiles that melted our armor like wax. We were caught completely by surprise. Before we could counterattack, it fled at an incredible speed. We couldn't catch it, but we could follow its hyperspace wake. We followed its trail as far as we could, heading away from the galactic core. When it finally led beyond the edge of our galaxy, we abandoned our efforts. Anything that wants to commit suicide in that great void is not worth our trouble trying to catch. That's the only story I have for now. I'll tell you some more stuff later if we get the chance.